You know, when we look out at the ocean, we usually just see this flat, beautiful blue expanse stretching all the way to the horizon. But right beneath those surface waves, well, there lies a vast, crushing, and honestly incredibly mysterious world. It isn't just water down there. It is a living, breathing, totally alien universe right here on Earth, where total darkness and extreme pressure have forged life forms that literally defy our wildest imaginations. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to map the abyss. Okay, let's dive into this. It's almost incomprehensible, right? We live in an era where we can map distant galaxies, we can track rovers driving around on Mars, but the vast majority of our own home remains a complete and utter mystery. So what actually hides in the unexplored 80% of our ocean? Get ready because we're about to descend into one of our last great frontiers. To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of that mystery, we have to remember that a massive 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by ocean. I mean, the continents we live on, the landscapes we know so intimately, they make up a mere 30% of the globe. When you think about it, the dominant habitat on Earth isn't land at all. It's water. And yet more than 80% of this massive, global ocean remains completely unseen by human eyes. Just think about that contrast for a second. We've mapped the surface world in extreme detail, but right beneath the waves is this sprawling, endless ecosystem that we know virtually nothing about. So, to make sense of this massive expanse, we're going to take a vertical descent. Here's the dive plan. We'll drop through Zone 1, the sunlit surface, then Zone 2, the twilight zone, Zone 3, the midnight zone, Zone 4, the abyss, and finally, we'll bottom out at the deepest point. All right, our descent begins at the top, Zone 1, the sunlit surface. This is where life begins, stretching from 0 down to about 200 meters. This top layer is the ocean we know, right? It's bright, it's in constant motion, teeming with dolphins, sea turtles, and jellyfish, but actually the most crucial inhabitants here are microscopic. More than half of the oxygen we breathe comes from tiny phytoplankton doing photosynthesis right here in this top sunlit layer. Think about that. Literally every second breath you take is a direct gift from these tiny ocean organisms. Let's move to and see how this builds as we enter Zone 2, descending into the twilight zone, also known as the mesopelagic zone, running from 200 down to 1,000 meters. Down here, those bright blues give way to fading light. Colors basically disappear. Reds literally turn to black, and many creatures have evolved entirely transparent bodies just to hide. But nature cuts through that gloom with something amazing, bioluminescence. In the twilight zone, light isn't given by the sun, it's created by life itself. Fish, squid, jellyfish, they flash these brilliant glowing patterns to attract a meal, confuse predators, or just communicate in the shadows. It's absolutely wild. Continuing our drop, we hit Zone 3, the midnight zone. Total darkness, from 1,000 meters and beyond. Now what's really interesting about this comparison is how radically alien the depths are. Dropping past 1,000 meters, we enter an eternal night, where temperatures plunge to near freezing. Up in the surface epipelagic zone, life is driven by sunlight, oxygen, and photosynthesis. But down here, in the bathopelagic zone, survival is defined by total darkness, crushing pressure, and entirely different chemical processes. The rules of the surface simply do not apply anymore. And because the rules are different, the residents are, well, beautifully bizarre. You've got the anglerfish, which hunts with a literal glowing lure attached to its head. Then there's the gulper eel. This thing is adapted for scarcity by having a mouth physically larger than its own body. It looks as ridiculous as it sounds, but it works. And the vampire squid, just drifting silently like a ghost. Many of these sightless creatures have abandoned vision entirely, sensing their world strictly through vibrations and pressure changes. But you might be wondering, how do they eat? Well, with food exceptionally rare down here, they rely on marine snow. These are tiny particles of dead organisms drifting down from the bustling surface way up above. And because every single meal is so precious, these animals move incredibly slowly. Every movement is completely strategic, specifically designed to conserve every last calorie. Next up is Zone 4, the abyss. We've reached the ocean floor, 4,000 plus meters down. Down here, at 4,000 meters deep, the pressure is a staggering 1,000 times greater than at sea level. Yet, surprisingly, the ocean floor is far from empty. Deep-sea corals and giant tube worms somehow thrive around underwater volcanoes called hydrothermal vents. They survive through something called chemosynthesis. Basically, bacteria convert the rich chemicals from that superheated vent water into usable energy. It's a really profound realization. Life doesn't strictly need sunlight to flourish. It just needs energy.
Finally, we arrive at the deepest point, the Mariana Trench, nearly 11,000 meters deep.
Plunging this far below sea level, we find a mind-boggling 1,000 atmospheres of pressure. To put that into perspective, that is enough weight to physically deform solid metal. It is dark, it is completely silent, and largely untouched by human presence. And yet, no way, life continues to push the boundaries. Explorers have discovered strange amphipods and these tiny organisms called foraminifera surviving right there in the sediment at the very edge of the possible.
But it isn't just biology hiding out in the deep. The ocean floor also acts as this incredible museum. Thousands of shipwrecks, from ancient wooden trading vessels to massive modern steel ships, rest down there in the darkness. Preserved by the freezing water, they act as time capsules of human history that life slowly reclaims, turning our lost artifacts into thriving artificial reefs. So the crucial point is this stark reality. We know more about space than we do about our own ocean. For centuries, this deep world was an absolute mystery. It's only right now, with advanced submersibles and remote-operated vehicles equipped with high-tech deep-sea cameras, that we are finally pulling back the curtain on this hidden realm. So why does this hidden alien universe actually matter to us up on the surface? Well, because it's the very foundation of our planet's habitability. The ocean regulates our global climate by absorbing immense amounts of heat. It produces life-saving oxygen, provides food for billions of people, and drives the weather systems that water our crops. Simply put, without it, Earth would be completely uninhabitable. But as foundational as it is, the ocean is under severe threat right now from pollution, overfishing, and climate change. The good news, though, is that we have the tools for recovery. Ocean cleanup technologies, sustainable fishing methods, and expansive marine protected areas are showing real promise. The ocean is incredibly resilient, and when we give it the time and protection it needs, it can and will recover. We've spent decades looking up, exploring the stars, yet our greatest, most vital frontier is still right beneath us. The deep ocean continues to whisper its ancient story, and we are only just beginning to listen. The mysteries are vast, but the responsibility? That is entirely ours. So how will your actions shape the future of this living universe?